So when is the car market gonna crash, or at least correct to the point where normal people could potentially buy new vehicles? I'm actually heading to at least 3 or 4 dealerships, and it's a Saturday. If you look at these other cameras, I've got a camera on the front, camera on the right side. I'm going to travel through these dealerships. I want to see, is the car market really going to crash, or are there still people out there on a beautiful Saturday? It's over 50 degrees now here in Colorado. It's been snowy and cold. Now it's warming up. It's almost March. This should be the time when people are out looking, at least browsing cars. So we're gonna drive through these dealerships. I just wanna get a quick glimpse and see how many people are actually parked at the dealerships. I think we're gonna start out with Toyota, then work our way down to Lexus, Ford, General Motors, and we'll just see where the day takes us. So there's a lot of people out there online, including myself. I have thought for the longest period of time that the car market's going to crash, because when you look at credit card debt is over $1 trillion. I think it's $1.2 trillion of credit card debt currently in America. And back in the 2020 range, that wasn't the case. We have home delinquencies, we have car delinquencies. Even in the housing market, you're starting to see prices drop dramatically. I actually don't think it's going to just bottom out. I think it's still going to be gradual. And the only way new cars ever drop in price again is really hinging on one factor. And we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. If that one thing doesn't change, people are gonna buy new cars. And we are riding in the old 2008 Sequoia. Oh, Bessie. She's still kicking, and my favorite vehicle of all time. Love this vehicle. Here we are at the Lexus dealership. What do we got here? Oh yeah, look at the customers up there up front. Got some old folks going in there. Guarantee they have money. Got some younger people there, guys shaking a hand. Oh, look at this. Customers everywhere. And you look at the age, look at the demographic, look at what they're wearing. You know, a lot of these people, you know, they probably have the funds. And this was packed over here a while ago. Look at this. There are no cars here at Lexus. So yeah, these now they could be somewhere else. They could be sent off to other dealerships. But yeah, generally speaking, we have more cars at this Lexus dealer than what I see today. Looks like someone might be trading in a Ram there, or maybe they're just looking to add to they got a TRX and they're looking to get something else that's similar. But yeah, so I would say Lexus, holy cow, look at this up front here. Almost no cars around there. Even 6-8 months ago, this lot was packed full. I don't know where the cars went, but I'm guessing, I think Lexus was setting records recently for their sales. They're doing really well. Let's move on to Toyota. Ooh, there's another used truck dealership down there. We're gonna go check that out too. That's also a good indicator too. Like, how's the used market doing, not just the new market. And used prices are coming down a little bit. They've probably come down halfway since the peak of that post-pandemic stuff. Oh boy, Toyota. Oh, I gotta tell you, it's not looking good for us. Although they have a ton of Tacomas there. Wow, there's a lot of Tacomas. Looks like a couple workers have an old Tundra, a new Tundra there. There's an old Tundra leaving. Hey, that old Tundra, there's a 2010 Tundra. Someone's looking at it. It's about 16.9 and it's got 139,000 miles on it. I was actually gonna come look at that truck, and looks like someone's gonna buy it. So yeah, look at this Toyota dealership. We got, holy cow, I mean, customer vehicles everywhere. And on the lot, we'll travel through the lot here. Yeah, customer vehicles everywhere. They have plenty of stock. They've got a Tacoma right there, a nice blueberry. They got a white one here that someone's checking out. But yeah, lots of customer vehicles here. And when you look at this lot, so here's a pan. This is normally on the right. We've got used cars, not a lot of used cars. And looking here in front of us, I mean, we've got very few cars. We have Tacomas right there on the right. So now we've got, I don't know if they're staging these Tacomas, but this is the most stock I've seen at this dealership for Tacomas, but there's nothing else here. They don't have really any Corollas or Camrys. I mean, they're just super low on stock on everything else. And when we come up and look at the Tundras, this whole row of Tundras wrapped around maybe 6 months ago, this was all full and these were not selling. Now, yeah, they're selling. I mean, the reality of the truck market is. There's a 2025 with the rally package. The reality is, look at this, it's empty right here. It's empty because they sold. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. And I do still think there's a chance that the car market is going to crash. And here's how it plays out. The only way that this stops, what you see here, where trucks are just flying off the lot, the only way that stops is the stock market dumps. That's the only way. The type of buyer that is here at Toyota buying $70,000 and $80,000 trucks, that type of buyer is the type of buyer that's probably approaching retirement or into retirement, a lot of them. And when you look at, here's the customer coming out. When you look at the market, the only thing that affects decision making for someone that's maybe 65, 70 years old, whatever they are, maybe in their late 50s even, and they're approaching retirement, the only thing that affects their decision making when buying a car is usually their net worth. They're almost always high income earners already, but if they see the stock market plummet like it did in 2008, that affects the psychology of those people, because they say, whoa, my net worth just dropped $300,000 or $500,000. That's a huge problem for people in that age group. So that's really the only mechanism. It's coming, but we don't know when. Look at historically what's happened. We are probably approaching the end of a bull run in the stock market. Everything indicates that, it's gonna drop, it's gonna correct, and it'll probably go back up in 2 or 3 or 4 years. Aside from the Tundra engine issues, Toyota's doing fine with sales, and their reliability is basically good enough for most people. If General Motors and Ford and all these other companies had even remotely reliable vehicles in comparison, I think it would have hurt Toyota. But when you look at General Motors' transmission problems, their V8 problems, Ford's transmission problems are sort of resolved, but they've had them for a while. This is why people keep going back to Toyota, because they trust them. All right, so let's go through this Ford lot here. We'll start in the back. This is kind of the back end of the lot, and they have a ton of F-150s back here. Look at these. All these 25s. They got a lot of Bronco Sports here on the left. So, yeah, just a lot of vehicles here, man. This is more than I probably expected to see, but that's looks like they finally started to sell some of them. But this is kind of like the overflow 5-acre back lot. So I kind of expect to see some spottiness here, some holes in the inventory. Got Explorers over here on the left. A lot of Rangers. They finally have Rangers. This is really what I was wondering. Once they got stock on the Rangers, it seemed like people really liked the new body style and really everything about the Rangers. The Ranger Raptor was really well received. A bunch of Mavericks over there. We'll check those out in a second. Tons of Broncos. The Broncos have been really struggling to sell. Got, of course, the EVs on the left, the Mach-E. The EVs are going to struggle this year. I think the Lightning and the Mach-E, you're just going to see continued discounts. Ford's losing their butt on those. They're actually losing money on the EVs. There's some Mustangs there. Lots of Mavericks. I'm really surprised to see the Mavericks. The Mavericks are really popular. I get it. There's a lot of people that don't need a big heavy-duty truck. They just want a bed occasionally. Maverick kind of fits the bill. The Maverick has stolen a ton of sales away from all of the other midsize, because it started out with their price point, but now the price point for those is, gosh, it's up towards frontier prices. A lot of F-150s up here, but as you'll notice, there are a lot fewer customers here than Toyota, but there is a customer there on the left. Looks like customer cars here on the left side. Some new trucks. There's a guy looking at a brand new truck right there. So kind of looks lighter to me. I'm not seeing the lot packed with customers, and this is 3:40 in the afternoon. Yeah, this guy's checking out the Tremor with the Power Stroke. Got another guy there in that F-150 checking it out. So yeah, there's customers. It's not a ghost town. This is normal, and this dealer, Man, they don't budge on price a lot. I will say that's one thing about this dealer. They're pretty stingy. I've been surprised in the past. They've got this Infiniti dealer, which, you know, Nissan, Infiniti, they have been struggling a little bit. See a couple people out there looking for cars. Looks like someone is test driving this car. So yeah, there's some buyers, a little spotty, but lots of stock on the Infiniti lot. A lot more stock than I expected, but it's good to see, you know, this is stock. It's getting back to normal. A lot more used stock, a lot more new stock on, it doesn't matter what brand, and that's eventually going to mean lower prices. They're just not here yet. Oh, V8 sounds great. Just hit 70, 75. Oh yeah, just, you know, it sounds good. It runs good. It's smooth on the highway. You gotta love old Toyotas. Let's hit this Mazda dealer now. I'll bet you Mazda has quite a bit of stock because, you know, they just seem to not sell quite as many vehicles as everyone else. Ooh, it looks like one of their workers owns a new Tundra. Scary. Well, not too bad. I don't see a ton of people here. I see one customer back there. Yeah, not like Toyota, definitely. I mean, there's no customer cars here on the left. Tons of stock. So Mazda, you know, this is looking a little different to me. I don't see anyone in the lobby. No one in the sales offices with these people. So yeah, it's looking a little more slim at Mazda. And as you can see, tons and tons and tons of stock. They actually have an overflow lot over by the GM lot. Looks like we have maybe someone looking right here. So yeah, that girl, and they're looking, they have an old Lexus. My guess is they're looking at new Mazdas to replace that old RX 330. What a great car that was. Those things, look at how old that vehicle is. Probably 20-year-old Lexus, just probably runs great. Here's a big used car lots right here on the left and right, and they are absolutely packed with inventory. And these are kind of the lower end lots. They're a little bit different. They're not like your big name dealers, and there's not many customers here. I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna actually just duck into one of these used car lots. You would think, you know, that these lots would be packed too, but the problem is used car prices suck just like new car prices. You know, they just haven't dropped quite yet. There's one customer there, maybe. So out of this entire used car lot, and off here to the right, man, look at how many used cars are out there. It's actually a double lot. There's one way out there to the right as well. This is just packed with used cars, and it's a good sign. I'm not going to complain about that, but not a lot of customers. Here we go in the General Motors lot. This is the one that I was most curious in, really. We've got, it doesn't look like quite as many customers up here. That one has been sold, looks like. They got a new Corvette there. I don't see a lot of customer cars here right now. There's a 4Runner. Why are you trading in that 4Runner on a GM, buddy? That guy needs his head examined. Holy cow. You got that reliable 4Runner. Do not trade it in on a GM product. I don't care how fancy the screen looks to you and how much you love animations. Don't do it. So this is, I mean, when you look at all these, this GM dealer is massive. Mike Maroon, and it is, or Marooney, however you say it. It is massive. They got a ton of trucks here, but they sell them. And they sell them to that market that I'm telling you about, the high-end buyer, the guy that is, you know, looking to retire, or maybe has just retired, and he's just looking to go buy the boat. He's looking to go buy the boat and the RV, and he's going to buy the Denali to tow it, and he's just going to eat marshmallows and travel the country. That's what people are doing. Quite a few cars here, a lot of little mid-sized SUVs. We've got, you know, various, you got the Suburbans, the Yukons. This is kind of a dual-purpose Chevy GM dealer. So a lot of stock here, a lot of 1500s, a lot of 2500s. They are selling the Colorados, though. The Colorado's the one truck, and the Canyon here, you'll see them. Man, that's one that is selling. People are really interested in it. When you cross shop it with the Tacoma, the 8-speed in the Colorado and the Canyon has gotten better. They've updated it. It isn't having a lot of problems. The 2.7 has been ultra reliable compared to the other GM variant engines. And people really love that 430 foot-pounds of torque in the Turbo Max versus the Tacoma only has 317. So I think a lot of buyers love having more power, and it's just a fun truck to drive. And then we've got some used here. We've got used Denali's, you know, typical. Not a lot of used, though. It actually looks like this lot has finally been selling their used vehicles, so good sign for them, I suppose. I'm dropping in here now to the Kia dealer. This dealer's massive. They've got a huge lot behind them. It's full of cars. And let's see, we got a salesman out front. He is looking to snipe me, and I'm not gonna let him. I'm not gonna get out. Sorry, sales guy, I can't talk to you. But there is someone looking. Look at this. There's a customer, which is pretty normal. She's checking out a used SUV. We're gonna drive this back lot. I see some customers over there. We'll go kind of get a feel for how many people are here. I don't think there's a ton of people here, but there's that, you know, when you see a couple customers, what you hear on the internet, which is there's a lot of time on lot. When look at this lot full of Kias. This thing is just massive. It goes forever back here. It turns into a dirt lot. They barely have enough room to squeeze in all of these Sorrentos and Tellurides. Gets a little muddy back here. I'm a little bummed, but you can see it's definitely tons of stock, but they still have customers. That's kind of the dynamic we have going on here. It's a heck of a lot better for some people than it was in 2021 and 22 and part of 23. You know, I would rather personally see vehicles on the lot and colors and trim differences. The prices are starting to come down, but I think we do need to see lower prices. You see some manufacturers like General Motors and even Toyota's given 1.9% for 72 months on the new Tundras. So they're pushing vehicles harder, they're pushing incentives harder, but they're just, for the majority of people, the cost of living's just gone up too much to handle the prices. So if you adjust for inflation, the prices of cars aren't terrible, but if you look at wages and the cost of living, they are terrible. Well, there's a interesting setup. Someone has a Wagoneer there. There's a salesman. Doesn't look like a lot of people here. So it looks like Kia might be kind of struggling a little bit with customers. I mean, this is a Saturday, 4 o'clock, prime time. The reason I came out now is I figured, generally speaking, before dinner, you kind of after lunch, before dinner, you're usually going to see a lot of traffic at these dealers. Maybe some in the morning, but it's such a nice day that it gets warmer during the afternoon. It's just beautiful out. There's no wind, there's no snow, there's no clouds. It's like this is the day that I expected to see. I expected to see more customers, but I still saw enough customers that indicate, hey, people are still buying and they still have the money, or they're leasing. That's a huge amount of Americans are leasing cars and just buying them for long terms. One thing I know, people expect vehicles to just go up in price because of the whole COVID thing. And what they're finding out is now when you buy a vehicle, you are actually going to see depreciation on that vehicle. So do not buy a vehicle thinking, I don't care what my payment is, because in 2 or 3 years, I'll just trade it in and get another one and it'll go up in value. That is not the case. That's not happening anymore. So don't be shocked when you lose your rear end. If you're spending over $50,000 on a car, you're going to have a massive amount of depreciation. Long gone are the days of buying a vehicle and turning around and selling it and you didn't lose any money. I think there's a lot of uneducated buyers out there. And once we see these uneducated buyers start to realize that, hey, this is actually a negative equity proposition, we might see fewer people going into these $700, $1,000, $1,500 a month loans and being a little more sensible with their income. All right, now this dealership is called the Truck Ranch. This is all used trucks, but a lot of them are like aftermarket wheels. They're always trying to get the tricked out trucks here, and they really like to try to sell those. Lots of newer inventory here, but it's a little smaller dealership. Better service, better prices, better trucks. 56,000, 56. These are all used, and I'll bet they got at least 50 to 100,000 miles on them. Some of these, they're usually kind of like a high mileage, newer vehicle style dealer. So you'll see like a 2022, it'll have 80,000 miles on it. I don't know where they're getting them, if it's fleet, a lot of these larger companies, but they seem to like ship them off. It's like every truck here seems to have these black wheels, XD wheels. There's someone test driving this F-150 Lariat. Let's make sure I don't hit anything. A girl, she looks like she's about 23 years old, 25 years old, driving that big jacked up F-150. Got some dude checking it out. Huh. Yeah, so customers, people just they're willing to buy. Take my money, I don't want to be rich. Wealth is not necessarily on the mind of Americans. Long-term wealth is not on the mind. If you look at the credit card debt, and if you look at the savings rate of Americans, and whether or not they're projected to be willing to retire, with maybe $1 million or more in net worth, problem is folks just can't save $200 to $400 a month anymore because they're running right on the razor's edge of a budget. I would rather put 20% of my income away in a 401k or something, and I don't care if it goes up or down. I would rather, that's the only way I can keep up with inflation, and everybody, I hope, thinks about that. And I hope with this channel, I want to change kind of the car culture of you have to have things that are new. Hopefully this gives you some insight on the market conditions. Again, watch the stock market. I think the only way we're ever going to see prices drop much further than they are now, really the tiny percentage of people it takes to buy brand new trucks to make these manufacturers happy, that tiny percentage of people, it only needs to be 16 million out of 330 million in the country. So that's a very, very small percentage of people that needs to want to buy cars and is willing to buy cars. And if there's stock, and if there's some incentives, and the stock market's running good, those people are not going to stop buying new vehicles. Not for a while. That's the reality of the market. Thanks for watching.